If you've just bought a new DJI drone, this is your perfect cheat sheet to understand which things to avoid, which things you can do best, and basically what I've learned over the past 18 months worth of flying all of my DJI drones. I'm going to try and keep each thing as short as possible, and then maybe extend on each point in future videos based upon the feedback or comments that I might get for them. So first things first is always pre-flight preparation is the most important thing. This is how you are going to avoid most of the crashes and most of the problems that you're going to have. And naturally, reading the manual, flight controls, modes, safety guidelines, it's the normal theoretical thing that you should do with everything. Everyone tells you to read the manual first, so check. Now, understand the drone laws inside and out. And it's also important to understand the local restrictions. If there might be a football competition or an event going on in your local area, and your local government or your local town might have restricted drone flight for that a specific period of time during a day in a specific place. So it's always important to make sure you check what's going on at that one time. Now, the weather is also a major part to it. If you see lots of trees going left and right because of the wind, and you see lots of rain or lots of snow and it's icy, this, that, and the other, then it's normally a thing to think about. It's maybe not the best time to fly a drone. A little bit of common sense there. Don't fly the drone if it's super windy, and don't fly the drone if it's like really, really raining. The smallest little bit of rain is okay to fly the drone in, but anything more than that, no. Planning your flight is just a very good logistical thing to do. If you think I'm going to go to place A and B and I want to see these specific things within inside of this one area, make sure you fly the drone from a good place so you can see that one site and you can plan where you're going to fly the drone. This is more about if you're going there to record that one scene, make sure that you do some horizontal shots in this side, horizontal shots on this side, some diagonal shots in this side, some shots above, some shots looking down, and so on. Just think about these shots with the first battery as well, because they're always the shots that you're always missing in the future. So if I take this lens as an example, and this is the thing that you're going to fly the drone around, a good a good orbit round the thing is nice, going in clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction, but then also make sure you do like straight shots left and right looking at the topic and on the other side, and basically on all sides of it, and then do shots looking down with the drone. So the camera down on the drone looking at it, and then going up, do some basically just try and do as many shots as possible in all their own recorded files. So press record, do the shot, stop recording, and move to the next place, and saving as much battery as possible. I cannot tell you, that is the thing that you're always missing, are these small shots just to fill up your main it's just basically the B-roll. That's the most important thing, is always get the extra B-roll that you needed. Visual line of sight, this is something that you're going to have to be able to do. You're always going to have to be able to see the drone. There are times when you can't see the drone, but just move the drone back so you can see it again, keep eyes on it, and then move the drone to the place that you want to. Otherwise, just move yourself to another position. It's always worthwhile. And I'm going to skip straight on to this next thing, is stay away from people. Don't let people see you flying the drone, because they are the one that's going to annoy you and tell you you can or can't stand there. And it's just super annoying. So one, keep visual line of sight to the drone. And two, don't let anyone see visual line of sight to you with the controller. All right, it's just good practice. It's annoying that you have to do this, but it's just good practice. Is don't let people see you flying the drone. Next thing is check your surroundings. When you fly the drone, if you know that there's going to be trees or buildings or branches or stuff like that, or cables, make sure you check all this stuff. Don't care about the drone laws with regards to this. This is your drone going to hit these things, and it's going to cost you lots of money, right? You might have a fine after it for doing these things, but ultimately you're the one that's going to lose your drone or have to fix your drone or whatever, you know. So always make sure branches that don't have any leaves on it, small branches, these drones cannot see them. Don't care how many sensors it's got, it cannot see them, and it's going to fly into them, okay? Big buildings, big trees with lots of leaves on it and so on, the drone will fly around it as long as you are not in sports mode. If you want sensors, don't use sports mode. With that said, don't use sports mode. There's a time to always use sports mode. When you want to get back as quick as possible, put it on sports mode, put it in cruise control, fly back to your home location that you see on the screen, and once you're there, put it into normal mode and tell the drone to land, and it will land where it wants to. The other time to put it into sports mode, and when it does come down, you want to hand catch that one drone, right? You're going to need to turn the sensors off, so get it in front of you, get it stopped, put it into sports mode, place your hand underneath it, and then just grab it and twist that drone, and it will turn off, basically. So that's the great times to put it into sports mode. Once you've got it down, once you've got it off, put it back into normal or cinematic mode again and leave it in sports mode. Next is the return to home thing. You really need to fundamentally know how to return to the home works, okay? And how to set the manual heights to it, what it's going to do if you've got lost signal, if it's got a low battery, or all of these basically things, because this is going to save your drone in lots of circumstances, and you will need to use it. There will be times when you don't have a signal, right? Regardless of visual line of sight, this can happen, all right? And definitely in the beginning, you're going to lose visual line of sight of that drone. You're going to want the drone to come back to you once again, all right? Visual line of sight does need practice, and to be able to control the drone, find the drone once again, move the drone where you want to. So it does take some practice. So don't think that at one time this visual line of sight is going to be a big problem, but over time you start learning how to cope with it. So changing batteries, as soon as the drone comes down, if you bought the combo kit, which I highly advise, there's always 3 batteries. So as the drone comes down, if you know that the next flight you're going to do is going to take, 10, 15 minutes, take the battery out, put a new battery in. And if you have the intelligent battery chargers, then you can press the button to make sure that all batteries, they try and fill one of the batteries up with the most charge whilst you're flying the other batteries, so we'll say in the other flights. So always put a new battery in. All right. Now, the biggest and the most important thing that I want you to take away from this video, and I didn't put it here, it's just best flight practices, is don't fly the drones indoors. Don't fly the drones indoors, no matter how much you want to do it. Don't fly it indoors. It will upset you. You'll break the drone. You will break stuff. You will scratch the walls. You will scratch wood. You will break the propellers. All of these things. Trust me, the first time you do it, you're going to go, why didn't I listen to that? Don't fly the drones in sight. Staying away from birds. If you see a flock of birds, a single bird is going to be fine. But a flock of birds that you see in the sky, right, they're going to chase you. They're going to see, oh, what is that? And they're going to come near you. And if that bird decides to then just kick the drone or something like that, the likelihood is it's going to break some propellers and the drone is going to fall out of the sky. And then you're going to have to find the drone, and the camera might be broken, and then you end up having to buy a new drone or fix the drone as well, or it might fall in water, because birds tend to be around water as well. So try and stay away from birds, let them have their airspace. So prop wash, this is if you want to learn about how prop wash works, take your drone, fly it inside, fly it near a wall, and watch the drone get sucked into the wall or get sucked into something, because there's just too much of the wash from the propellers everywhere, and it's sending the drone mad, and it has no idea what to do anymore. So prop wash is something I can't explain. You're just going to have to learn what prop wash is, but you'll notice it over experience when you see it happen. So as I already talked about, is try and stay away from visual line of sight from other people. There's always going to be people that are going to come near you that they think that they know the drone laws, they know all of the laws, and they're going to tell you what you can and can't do, even though they have no idea what they're talking about. Just stay away from these people. You always know these people because they're going to talk to you before they even get to you. People that have got questions, people that are just truly interested in the drone flying, they tend to just hover and stand there and wait to talk to you. And afterwards, they'll come and they'll say, oh, what drone is that? And these are the people that you should inform. These people you should inform about what the drones can do, how they can do them, where they can buy them, which drones they should buy, and so on. And tell them all of your problem stories, because this is what they really want to know. But just try and avoid people, generally speaking. Another really, really important thing is in the beginning when you start crashing the drone, because you're going to crash the drone, is that the shake, the hits, the crash of the drone is going to upset the drone a little bit. And sometimes the camera gimbal might be a little bit upset. You might need to rejig it as well so it's straight once again. Recalibration of the compass, recalibration of the drone. Make sure you do that all at home on a flat surface. When you've got time, don't do it outside. Don't do it near big pieces of metal and magnets and stuff. But you've got your screwdriver. Make sure you tighten up all of the screws as well that you can see. Clean any crap off that you've got on there, clean any mud off or any dirt on there. Just do some maintenance of the drone when you get home, because Yeah, you don't want a propeller coming off or your camera not working or something whilst you're up there and having to bring it back down again and do it again. So when you do get home and you're loading all the footage onto your computer, make sure you give the drone a good clean afterwards as well. I cannot say this enough, right? If you're going to fly a drone and it's got GPS, it can hover, it can do all of these things, it's got quick shots, it's got all cruise control and so on, practice on the simulator first. Get these moves down to perfection, all right? On the simulator, you can crash it 100 million times, infinite amount of times, and it is only going to cost you time. It's never going to cost you money. So practice, practice, simulator, simulator, practice, practice, practice. It's what you really need to do. Once you've practiced it so much that you can do it in your sleep, take the drone out and you will literally do it so easily and the footage will be perfect. And my next point is refer to the point before again and now go and practice once again because it's that important. The other thing to remember is that you have a camera on that one drone and the drone laws say that you need to have a competency test to be able to filming over these areas. This is another thing that you need to do is know the drone laws. And if you do the competency test, you will know these things as well. Know when you can and can't use the camera, right? Know when you can record things, when you can't record things, why you can record things and why you can't record things. Now, but when you are recording things, make sure you know how the camera works. Shutter speed, ISO. Most of the drones only have one aperture, so it's a fixed aperture. So it's important to understand how the white balance works, what different settings are going to cause the different things, what about the ND filters, and so on. So these are really important things for you to understand. In order to get the best footage, is the best settings are required. And once you do understand this stuff, try and use D-Log-M, all right, instead. And then you've got a whole bunch more control over the drone. Not going to get into this type of stuff, but these are definitely things to invest in as well, into is learning how the camera actually works. And you can start using another camera to learn how to do this. Coming up to some of my final points now is that it's all well and good you going out and buying the most cheapest and easiest drone in the beginning, but you are going to outskill this drone. You're going to buy it and you're going to go, oh no, I wish I bought this one. I wish I bought that one. I wish I'd spent some more money on the other drone. Do that, all right? Do that. If you're going to go out and buy the DJI Flip, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, right? That's going to cost you €400 or €500 or something. Go and invest in a second-hand DJI Mini 3 Pro or a second-hand DJI Mini 4 Pro from someone else with the combo kit, all right? Because it's a way better drone. It's superior than that. The DJI Flip is a terrible drone for that money, right? It compared to the 3 Pro, the 4 Pro, and so on. And you can go and get some of the older the DJI Airs as well, which have got way more stuff on it. So don't bother your money with a DJI Flip. The DJI Neo is a great little drone to start off with, but it's still going to cost you €200, €300, €400 depending upon which package you buy. So if you want to have like 4K footage, you want to have all of the DJI quick shots, you want to have active track, you want to have all of these things, you really need to start getting a DJI Mini 3 Pro as a bare minimum, all right? You are going to waste your money on having to buy 2, 3, 4, or 5 drones. I have all of the drones, right? I spent lots and lots of money on all of these drones because I wanted all of the drones, all right? So I did it for a reason. But I know exactly which drone to use at which time, and my DJI Air 3S is pretty much the drone I use every single time because it's just way better than the Mini 4 Pro. The Mini 4 Pro is just way better than the Mini 2 SE. The Avata 2 I use all the time for nice shots. And when I want to just play around with the drone, I want to enhance my skills, I take the DJI Neo out and I'll just fly that around. And I don't care if I crash it because it's pretty durable and it doesn't cost a lot of money to replace. However, that's not my aim, is to break it. Final things now, and these are just like bonus tips really, is when you do buy the drone, then go and buy some more propellers for it as well. Go and buy the sticks for the controller. Remember to get the right sticks as well for it because the different controllers require different sticks as well. And also get a strap for your controller, all right? When you've got your controller in your hand, it's all nice, but once the drone comes down, you're like, where can I put the controller? Just buy a lanyard around it. They don't cost much money on Amazon or in the shops and stuff, and you can put the screws into it. You can hang it around your neck, and then you know it's always safe. So when you get the controller out, put it around your neck, turn it on, do the drone, and it's all nice and easy. and then the propellers just keep in the bag. In the beginning, you are going to need propellers because you are going to crash the drone. I haven't changed a propeller in a long time, to be honest with you, because I don't crash drones anymore because I don't fly near stuff. It still can happen and it will happen, but the likelihood is reduced all the time. Now, obviously, I crashed the DJI Neo because I'm pushing it to its limit so I can learn how to fly the drone. But that's just a part and parcel of drone flying, is them crashing, you having to be able to fix it. With that said, I hope this video has been of use to you. I'm trying to pass my knowledge of drones on. I'm trying to pass my experience of drones on to other people, because I get people ask me which drone should I buy, this, that and the other, and I've got lots of drone videos, and I've got lots of programming videos, and I've got videos about living in Germany and so on. So it seems only right and fit and fair to express my knowledge and pass my knowledge on about drone flying as well, because I am a very tenacious person. I put a lot of time and effort into knowing all of the fine details of all of these things. So when someone does ask me the question, I can competently tell them the answer. And I can also find the answer, the correct answer online, and say, hey, this is where the answer is, and this is how you can research it. There's so many people that don't know the drone laws, even when they say they've flown a drone as well. And there's been times where I've had to re-question, do I know the drone laws? And I've actually been wrong, because I don't want to break any laws. I'm not here to fly drones to break laws. I'm here to use the drone to capture great footage, and I don't want to take photos of people in the gardens. I don't want to take videos of people doing stuff. That's not who I am, and that's not what I want. So that's why it's really important to listen to these people and know the laws yourself, and then go back and relearn them every single time, because when you do get confronted by the police, right, it's really important that you do know the laws and you do know your rights with them, and which things you should and shouldn't say to them about it. Because, or the things that you should say to them, and say, here's the laws and this is the why. And I highly recommend printing out the drone laws and carrying them around in your bag, all right, and marking down all of the reasons why you can do it. I haven't done this yet, but I keep saying I should do it, and I probably will. All right. With that said, if you found this video interesting, helpful, or any assistance, then please think about giving it a like. It does help other people to find the video, and that engagement with the YouTube, or that your engagement with my video, helps the YouTube algorithm to let other people find this video too. It would be nice if you could comment anything to say which points I've maybe talked about too fast, which things you liked as well, because this also helps other people to find the video to see which stuff you liked. Other than that, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I've got a whole broad different types of videos. If you don't subscribe, the sheer fact that you're listening through to the end is already a great thing to me. Thank you very much for watching. My name's David Dawn. Fly safe, be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.